Evening all, we're back with Dragon Warriors and the next part of Prince of Darkness. Last time they sort of made their way through the watch dungeon, I guess, where a pair of frost giants were protecting the path down. And now, in theory, there's not really much of anything left between them and the Temple of Balor, which is just as well because their loot-carrying ponies are pretty much completely stocked up at this point. So, passing out from the watch place after you've had your rest, leaving your prisoner under guard by Wee Hamish, the ice mastiff, you survey the way down. The path down to the frozen lake is visible only as a thin ledge carved into the snow-covered mountainside. It looks like the going is going to be extremely tough and precarious. So, do you want to take any precautions for climbing down?
I think I can take any precautions. Well,
Should we rope ourselves together?
seems like a good idea. One person falls though, it just drags everyone else down.
Well, in theory, that could happen, but in practice, it shouldn't.
All right, let's rope ourselves together.
Using that elf rope,
Oh yeah, the elf rope, yeah.
because you still got that. Okay. Right.
There are 39 feet of elf rope.
Yeah, something like that. Right. What's your reflexes, each of you?
My reflexes
16.
is 16.
Caesora's is 16, and Becca's is
12, I think.
okay. Yeah. Roll just Becca. Roll a d20 and get 12 or under.
That's 13. Sorry.
Okay, 13 or under.
8. That's under.
Yep. Okay, and we'll just assume that Kerridan doesn't fall off until John gets back. All right, so roped together and very carefully, slipping and sliding here and there and having to grab onto the sides, sending stones and bit of ice and snow tumbling down ahead of you, you make your way all the way down. Right. Just 1 second. Okay, the ground starts to flatten out as you get back down into the foothills, closer to the lake. There is the remnants, the vague remains of a path here, where someone has sort of piled the scree and odd bits of stone into a mound. Beneath, well, more than a mound, a sort of hump running along. Beneath the scree and bits of stone that have been added, you can occasionally see the odd paving stone as if there used to be some kind of proper path or road here, but very, very long ago. Can you all make perception rolls, please? At -2.
Well, I got 2.
Welcome back, John.
Thank you.
Fail.
Okay.
I rolled an 11 with the modifier.
So is that under your perception?
One moment. I have to pull up this character sheet.
I like how in the bottom of the screen on YouTube, it's got like all the characters plus Yannick Svolov.
Svolok, yes.
The
The warlock.
Oh, the person who's only been played once.
Yeah, but he has been
I was
played.
wondering who. I was wondering who that was, though. It was just like, and you know. Madrock, Caesoria, Elaine, and Sir not appearing in this, in this game.
Not appearing in this film, yes.
Fail for me.
Okay. Did anyone succeed?
Yes.
No.
Okay, just Zora. Okay, on your way down to the lake, now that the ground's a lot more even going, you're able to untie the ropes. But through the blowing snow, you see a low mound of stones just off to the side of the path.
How far away is it?
About 20-25 meters off the side of the path.
Does it look like a burial mound, or is it just like more debris, like someone's done previously?
It's like a burial mound, like a cairn, very similar to the one where you stole that big two-handed sword that you're carrying around there.
Right, unsheath Excalibur, my beautifully my two-handed sword,
Mm-hmm.
slowly creep up to it.
Okay, Caesora suddenly takes off the side of the path and creeps away around the scattered boulders. The rest of you following or just leaving him to it?
Oh, not
I'm
again.
just gonna follow. Like, where are you going?
Are you going to
I'm
answer?
I'm still sneaking up.
Okay, he ignores you and slinks away. Okay, so Caesora and anyone who follows after him. There's this mound of stones off the side of the place. There's a few scattered bones to one side of it. And there's an old, battered, what looks like the same sort of thing as the magical standard, which you found. There's a very similar but worn down and obviously non-magical sort of standard and crosspiece jammed into the stone.
So it is a grave then.
Yeah.
I'll sneak back then.
Okay. And?
No, I'm sneaking back to the rest of the group.
Yep. And?
We were following quite close behind.
Oh, you were following. Okay. So you turn around and everyone else has followed after you. So.
Yeah.
Right. So, yeah, there's a burial mound with an old, battered Legion standard stuck into it and a few bones scattered about.
What do you think of this? This is all.
I reckon it's the grave.
What's a who?
Question.
Well, the question, the thing is there's a standard there, so it must be someone of importance. Do you want to dig up the grave? I'm not stopping you. When the fight was under the grave, I'm not stopping you.
You mean exhume the dead?
Well, we've been doing that since day one. We've been doing that since day one, haven't we, Sally? Why do you think we managed to get a castle? Why do you think we managed to get a house? Why do you think we managed to get servants? Because we basically rob people of the ill-forgetting gains, and it's now our gains to get ahead in life.
Yeah, but we rob the living people, though. We don't rob the dead people, necessarily.
We don't rob anyone. We
The,
rightfully slay the undead and
no, we
claim
smite
their
the
ill-gotten
undead.
goods for our just cause.
Exactly, Sally. So if you want to deal with the undead, there is an undead warrior underneath there. I'm not stopping you. If you want to go and smite him, I'm not stopping you. Yeah.
Does it appear that it has been disturbed in any measurable or reasonable, period of time that would fall within a year or two?
No.
Okay, so the information I was keen to get, the notes and field books from that other leader of the expedition, that the cult fellow in prison, it's doubtful it would be here then.
No,
so
this looks much, much, much older.
How big does the grave actually look, Grim?
Big enough to hide a shortish man.
Maybe the size of a caravan or two.
Well, using my savvy, the only people who are buried with a banner or someone of importance. Am I right or am I wrong?
Yeah, that's pretty much right. Yeah.
Yep. So therefore, we've not came across any more bronze skins on our travels, except for the skeletons and up top side, up the hill. So basically, I reckon the person who's been buried here is either someone of importance or someone who fell.
Another consideration, the standard could just be there because it marks, maybe it helps to identify. Of course, it could be a mass grave with a standard there just as a landmark, or the standard could be there just as a memento, because I mean they died far from home, in their own homelands or territories or fiefs or fiefs. I forget exactly. I guess it's pronounced fief. They might follow standard protocols for burial, but out here in the wilds, I don't know if that would necessarily hold true. It's likely, but I think there could be a reasonable exception made as well.
Also, Grim, on our travels, have we came across anyone who seemed to be the top leader of this expedition of Bondskins yet?
No. I think the highest ranking person you found has been the standard bearer.
And that's the one who had the magical one. Yeah, the one which I thought, yeah. Right.
Well,
did you ever find out
all
what
this
that baton actually
pontificate.
does? Or is it just a baton, Grim?
The baton, it's a command baton. But it was a magical artifact. It may not have actually belonged to the leader.
Well, all this pontificating is of no use. I'm not going to touch a grave. It's holy ground. But, of course, you lot are free to do whatever you wish.
Let's carry on then, shall we?
Okay.
Seconded.
Why is it gone quiet?
Well, everyone else is leaving the grave behind and moving on, so unless you want to do anything different, Sizora. No?
If we need to transgress, we can maybe do it on the way back. We are on a bit of a deadline, no?
Grave robbing on the way back when you need a bit of relaxation and a break, yeah.
Sure.
Okay, so you pass on. And after a lot of trudging down through the foothills, arrive at what can only be Lake Nimur, frozen since the beginning of time, when the icy wastes flooded over the remains of the city of Nem, the seat of Balor, Prince of Darkness, leader of the Fomorians. Nothing is visible beneath the ice. At the far end of the lake, you can see the low, squat building that you saw from the mountain peaks above. It seems that it must have been a temple at one epoch of history, raised up higher than any of the surrounding land by a series of stepped terraces that are just visible beneath the surface of the ice. The top of this pyramid is made entirely of black stone. A colonnade of pillars supports the roof in front of you, and you can see the dark shapes of giant hawks wheeling up and around the top of the building. The wind bears their horrible screeching to your ears, and Becca's eagle wheels away and flies back to the mountains.
When you say giant eagles, do you mean like Hobbit, Lord of the Rings giant eagle, like a 747?
Becca's giant eagle isn't quite as big as that. It could probably carry one person in its claws, but it's not going anywhere near these giant black hawks.
Right, I just missed all that because for some apparent reason I was very quiet and I only hear you guys like a whisper, so you're gonna have to rewind what I've just missed.
Okay. You got down to the lake. There's a temple on the far side. There are black hawks wheeling around overhead. And Becca's eagle friend decided, nah, screw that, and flew back to the mountain.
What faggot.
Do you remember we got attacked by these Black Hawks, didn't we, in the castle?
Yeah, they're the ones that carried off the king and the embers.
And also they tried to attack us in the skeleton again as well, if I remember correctly as well.
Yeah.
It was only just... Right, how many of them are there going?
Loads, but they're all just flying overhead. They're not picking on you, at least not yet.
Not yet. Right. Did we
Where
ever
is
came to the
Rocco
conclusion which
Coxa
grave
going?
was? Did we ever come to a conclusion what the grave was?
No, you just left the grave alone.
Right, okay, that's fine. I would have left it alone anyway. I'm not going to take a bloody assassin, not a people. Right, how far away is the temple?
It's on the opposite side of the lake. So quite some way.
How sturdy does the lake actually look?
How what, sorry?
How sturdy does the lake actually look?
It's been frozen.
What are you doing? John?
Throw yourself together, man! Throw yourself together, man!
So
That was Arctic wind. I'm so sorry.
It's been frozen for an age, so the odds are that it's pretty solid, and it's fairly flat compared to the ground either side of the lake.
Right, are you guys up for a run to the temple, or you want to take on these beasties?
I'd rather not pick a fight with flying creatures if we can avoid it.
Yeah, they don't seem to be touching us.
Do the
Just
wingy
carry
beasties like they're on our way towards the temple, or is the temple the opposite way again?
Sorry,
Just be on guard in case they dive.
yeah.
Yep. Right. You think, Grim? Sorry.
Sorry, I couldn't quite hear you. Yeah.
Right. Are these beasties on our way to the temple, or do the temple?
No, they're circling over the top of the temple.
Ah, right. Okay. Something's obviously speaking then. Be dinner time for them. Interesting.
I think it might be prudent if we have anyone with a longbow to string it up and get it ready. I'll have a ranged spell or two ready in case they decide to say hello.
Yeah.
They love the
longbow.
They love the flashbangs, Kerrigan. They love the flashbangs.
But how are we going to get across this lake? If only someone had a magic drum that could summon some sort of ghost ship.
They wouldn't be that useful on ice, though.
Couldn't we just walk since it's frozen into?
Oh, you said frozen lake.
Yes.
Yes. No, summon the ghost. Summon the boat anyway. We slide across. On the boat. I'm not wrong.
Yeah. Ghost Vikings. Yeah.
Excuse
me, we can do with a bump stud.
I'll sort of walk to the edge of the lake and tap it with my bow. Sort of wonder, like, how sturdy is this?
It makes a tink noise and seems to be pretty solid. In fact, you can see a fish frozen solid, maybe about a foot beneath the surface of the ice.
We should be fine. If we head out and it begins cracking a wee bit, I can maybe do a pinpoint flame finger test to see how deep the ice is, or so on.
Or even melt the ice. That'll.
Or refreeze it. You've got the Glisten spell, don't you?
Ah, yes, that's right.
Okay, so you set out across the lake. It's quite slippy, and it's covered with a dusting of snow, so you're kind of having to sort of slide your feet to make sure that you don't encounter a crack or anything, because the snow's covering up any potential holes, but by and large, it seems to be pretty solid. You're about halfway across the lake, with the temple looming much larger and closer, when flurries of snow spin up into a pair of small whirlwinds and dash across the ice towards you. Right.
I'm going to stand my ground and unravel the banner we have, the new banner, see if anything works for that.
Okay.
Not the one from the grave before you start, John. You've got a banner I found earlier.
Well, I have my bow ready.
Yeah. So So you've got an opportunity as these things come towards you. Right. They rapidly gain in strength and power and size and hurtle towards you over the ice. They'll be here next turn.
Do I have any idea how to work this banner tool?
Didn't I write down what it does?
Warding spell effect. That's what it says.
Warding spell effect. Okay. That's, I think, protection from ranged weapons. I think it's a sorcerer spell. Or is it a warlock spell?
Because John was away, do you want to tell him what's the situation?
Just these whirlwinds of ice rushing in at you at extremely high speed. They will be here next turn.
Okay, I wonder if I have any dispelling spells. Let me check here. Image, Moonglow, Portal, Weaken. Weaken, 20 meters. Spell, I guess that's weakening folks rather than spells. Inflict wound, peer, tangle roots. Warding. Okay, weaken, command. Chill, antidote, curse, disease, or pollution. Wall of Magic absorbs magic points spent from incoming spells.
Yeah.
That might work, I presume. Would
work against magic, yeah.
Are these things magic though?
Well, I would presume such. Would a sorceress like Carradine have any latent ability to sense ambient magic just because it's her profession, or would that require an active spell cast?
You can have a good guess, but there's a spell for that.
Okay.
Warding. So the banner enhances the luck of the people nearby in combat. So basically, it will give you an extra 2 defense if you rally to the banner. In essence. Right. Right. Caesaurus go. So these great big ice whirlwinds are hurtling in towards you. Occasionally you can see some vaguely humanoid features within the swirling winds, like a clawed arm or a screaming face.
Ice harpies?
What do you want to do then? Did you want to set the banner?
Yeah, may as well.
Okay, so you ram the pointed end of the banner into the ice and hold it upright.
Yep.
Elaine, your bow is ready, so...
I'm going to fire a shot.
Yeah.
Feed into it, see if it has any mass of which to hit.
Okay. Just roll to hit. No defense.
I hit.
Okay, one sec, I just have to look something up. Tell this is an old school game. I'm going to have to tone that down slightly. Right.
Too lethal, is it?
Yes. One thing from old school gaming that I'm not a fan of is any attack that's just instant death with no chance to resist. So yeah. Right. Roll to penetrate armor.
Oh, that's where it is.
5.
Okay, your arrow flies true but gets caught up in the wind of the whirlwind and sucked inside and thrown out the top without seeming to harm it. Right, Becca's go.
Okay, Becca will draw the Claymore of Valander and stand ready by the banner.
Okay.
So she'll defer her action and hit anything that comes close.
Okay. And what does Caradon want to do?
I will begin casting a rank 2 spell warding to add to the protective power of the banner.
Yeah.
I'll mark down my points here.
So that's a sorcerer spell. What does it say the effect is?
It says here, increases your defense against ALL and all caps, all attacks by +2. Expires on a roll of 20.
Yeah. Okay.
Same as the banner, isn't it?
Yeah.
Would these effects stack, or would I know that they do or don't stack, or should I just take a chance?
It was a level 2 sorcerer spell, yeah?
Mm-hmm. Rank 2, yes.
Rank 2. Okay, that will only affect you, so it will stack for you with the banner. So you've got +4 defense, but no one else. No one else gets
I'll
the benefit.
continue carrying it out. Perfect.
Okay.
Is there any way to broaden the range of a spell by spending more points or anything like that? Any kind of spell manipulation in this system?
You can spend more points on a spell if you want, but it's largely down to GM interpretation.
Okay.
What kind of effect that has? So yeah, I'll just have to fudge it whichever way is necessary. Okay. Yeah. So you make a few gestures with your hand and summon some protective magic. It's a brief flash, and then it just sort of settles over you and fades away. Right, new turn. They reach you. Let's see. Right, so they whirl in on Sir Alain, the first one does, and smashes into him, all ice crystals and hard wind. So, what's your armor total, Jack?
My armor total is 6.
Okay, you take 3 hit points of damage. And can you roll your strength or under on a d20, please?
Yes, I can.
Okay, so you're buffeted and knocked around by the wind, but not thrown off your feet. But you do get fragments of ice stuck in your skin, and you're chilled to the bone. The second one sweeps in on the banner where Caesura is.
Does it actually make itself known now, or is it still just like blizzard?
You briefly see these features within it. What's your armor?
Armor factor
3. Okay, take 1 health of damage.
Okay.
And roll a d20 equal to or under your strength.
4. Done it by 6.
Okay, so yeah, you're buffeted and knocked around, but not thrown from your feet. The banner is knocked around, but isn't torn from your grip either. And it's your go.
Okay. Sword of Adara.
Yeah.
I'm going to sort of like get a swipe at it whilst holding my ground. As it went in for me, and as it's pulling back, I'll sort of smite it with my sword.
Okay. So you tighten your grip on your sword and lash out wherever you can see any sort of features.
Yeah.
Okay, just roll your attack. It has no defense.
7.
And roll damage.
That would be 9. Hey!
Okay. Your blade, I mean, it's buffeted by the wind, but you feel it drag and hit in something. And pieces of the ice and snow melt in the blows of the sword. The sound of the wind goes up a note, like a scream, and spins even harder and faster around you.
It's a bunch of Tasmanian devil, that's what it is.
Right, Elaine.
I'm going to change weapons.
Okay, so to the elemental sword.
Um,
Oh no, you handed that off, didn't you?
Yeah, I gave the elemental sword to Becca.
So just to your sword of Valandar then.
Valandar.
Okay. Right. Yeah, so you sort of hunker down and swap weapons. Becca's go.
Okay, so Baker was stood by the banner.
Yep.
So this creature, as it swoops in to attack the banner, she'll slice at it.
Okay. Don't miss, just roll your attack. It has no defense.
5, yeah.
Okay.
That's a good solid hit.
Yep, and roll damage.
There's armor through, yeah.
Yeah.
Ouch, 7 hits.
7 hits. Okay. Right. The whirlwind keeps spinning back and forth, but getting caught up first on Caesora and then on your blade, and sort of ricocheting between the two like a pinball.
But is Becca familiar with this creature? It's
You've heard tales of
Is it-
ice demons that disguise themselves as sort of I can't remember what the word is. I mean, they're like whirlwinds but smaller.
Reminds me of Skyrim. Up high on the throat of the world, there's little demons like that.
tornado.
Too big, like a dust devil but with snow. I can't remember what the term is.
Yeah.
Right, and Keradan's go.
How many of these are visible, are clearly visible? How many entities?
2. There's one at the banner, so through the sort of blowing snow you can see the silhouettes of Becca and Caesora close to the banner and hacking at whatever they can. Elaine's silhouette is sort of hunkered down, changing weapons with this whirlwind continually sweeping over and around him.
Okay, I have something marked on my sheet here that says Ring of Wraithwind. 4 magic points or health to cast, creates a 20-meter wall, 20-meter wide wall of wind that does D8 damage and advances a meter per turn.
Yeah.
Has Keradan ever used this before in the game before I played her?
No, you've had it used against you.
Would I be able to reason that the strength of this Wraithwind would be enough to compete with the elemental forces that are against us, or would it be wasteful?
It's not quite as powerful, but it might take some of the sting out of their attacks.
Okay. Am I still able to maintain that warding spell I had before? It says it expires on 20.
It doesn't expire yet, so you're okay.
Okay, so I don't have to maintain it or anything like that.
No.
Okay, then I would like to use my Ring of Wraithwind. I don't know if I need to invoke any spells, or I just present my ringed hand and fingers out.
Yeah, you present the ring, spend the magic points.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, and a great blasting wall of wind appears, passing over your companions and moving into the path of the whirlwinds.
And I'll try and pitch my voice so that it could possibly be carried through, rather than trying to overpower the sound of the shrieking wind or so on. I'll try and pitch my voice a little bit if I can, to maybe cut through frequency-wise. Everyone get behind me so that you're out of the path of the Wraithwind.
Okay. Yeah. Right. So.
And then I'll correct it and say, my Wraithwind!
Right. New turn. So, buffeted by the blasts of wind and I'm sort of anticipating what's going on, really. The whirlwind around Elaine tightens up and then explodes again in showers of ice. So take 1 health point of damage, Jack. And can you make another strength roll, please?
I succeed.
Okay, right. So you sort of, with this bitter wind biting into you and bits of ice scratching your face, you get your sword out ready to attack. Over at the banner, the whirlwind tightens its focus and moves in on Caesura. And explodes massively in a sort of frenzy of ice and shards. Caesura takes 7 health points of damage.
That sounds like a lot.
It is a lot.
It does not like this banner, does it? This
No.
creature.
And can Caesura make a strength roll, please?
2.
Okay. So you grip tight onto the banner as this thing knocks you around. But you get the sense that the power of its attack is coming through the desperation of being so horribly wounded. And it's your go.
I'm going to smite this little. Beep, 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 beep.
Right.
I'm going to stab it. I'm going to stab it.
Okay. Roll your attack or under.
Oh, yeah, Daddy. Who's your daddy? 1.
Okay. Roll damage twice.
First one, 7. Second one, 8. Okay.
Okay. You thrust your blade into the very center of the whirlwind, and you feel it hit something over and over again as it's whirling around. It's like... the wind abruptly stops, and a horned blue skull drops to the ground with smoke pouring out of its eye holes. But it seems to have been destroyed.
Oh, it was a snow demon.
No shit, Sherlock.
Elaine.
Now with my sword of Valander in hand, it's hard to see because of the snow blowing in my eyes. I can hear Seradin calling out, like, "Get behind me!" So I'm going to try to, like, make my way towards her while thrashing around. Like,
Yep. Okay. Don't miss. So, yeah, it's got no defense. So, roll your attack.
I got a crit.
Roll damage twice.
Is a crit a natural one in the game, or like making
Yeah, it's
your
a
roll by
natural.
10 or 15 or something?
It's a natural one.
Hold on. Maths. Simple maths.
It's just addition.
15.
Tell me the numbers. I'll help you. Tell me the numbers.
15.
15. You can do it. Okay, so you sort of bow your head and force your way through the wind, and you sort of pass through the eye of the storm and see the skull spinning around you. Strike it, lopping off one of its horns before you pass through the wind and out the other side, slipping and sliding across the ice to get behind Caradon. Right. Becca's go.
Okay, can I see the second
Yeah.
snow demon? Well, I should try and hit it.
Okay. So you sort of move between Alain and the demon and strike a blow. No defense, just roll to hit.
5 as a hit.
Okay, roll damage.
5 hits.
Okay. Yeah, you can feel your blade hitting something as you sort of cut into the wind. But it's still coming and hasn't dissipated like the other one has. Caradon. Your warding spell is intact. The wind wall is intact. And continues to blow against the whirlwind. The force of your Wraithwind blows a huge amount of the snow away from this dervish thing, whatever it is, and you can see without the snow, just the distortion of the wind. There's the skull, and there's also like a pair of icy hands moving around throughout the wind. And what do you want to do?
I will just kind of step forward because I'm engaged in a very aggressive action and lower my jaw and just vomit forth with mad hatred in my spirit and with the words I utter a dragon breath spell.
Okay.
1 point more.
Right. how much damage does that do?
D6 plus 6 minus armor.
Okay, if you'll do the honors and roll the dice.
7 points. I rolled a 1.
Right. What was a whirlwind of ice becomes a whirlwind of fire, and the whole thing just sort of burns out and explodes under the vomitous breath of fire. And everything is still once more.
Whew.
Elementals, demonic spirits, ice devils.
Yeah, they didn't like that banner match, did they?
Well,
That really-
they loved it.
That really annoyed them.
I
Absolutely.
wonder why.
Perhaps they recognize it.
Well, they are
Perhaps.
cold creatures, lacking warmth, right? Any warmth of physicality or emotion. Perhaps the camaraderie, the warmth, the spirit, everything else involved with the banner was like a lure to them, for them to focus their hate and rage on.
A red blanket for the charging bull, I believe the saying is.
Right. That's a very nice way of summarizing what I took too many words to say.
You could be a darling, could you, Carrigan, if you deal with me.
My dog's having a reverse sneeze fit. One moment, please.
Okay.
Oh. Looking at the skull, Grim, what was it? Was it just like a blue goblinoid type creature thing you did?
It looks more like a bear skull, but it's got these horns on it.
Oh, it was a baby yeti.
Demons, no more, no less.
Ice demons, indeed. So, Celine, very much I agree with you there. Oh, I need a vacation.
Let's carry forth.
So, okay. Yeah, we can keep going a bit and assume that you're going to get access to some healing in a moment.
Yeah.
The Hawks of Balor nest on the top of the grey building at the end of the lake. As you draw nearer, you see that the porticos of the temple are cracked and worn. Two thin twin trails of black smoke filter up into the still air from the building. Beyond this, there are no other signs of life. Suddenly the hawks take off and swoop overhead, not attempting to attack, but as their shadows pass over you, you're filled with a sickening sense of dread, as if all hope had been quenched forever. Right. What's Elaine's magical defense?
8.
Okay. What's Becca's magical defense?
8 also.
What's Zora's magical defense?
8 twice.
Sorry, what? 8 again.
Time. Yeah.
And Cerridon is unaffected, being more resistant to magic from being a magician. 1 second.
This is when they shit us on my high height.
If they were shitting on you, I would just make attack rolls.
Oh. Yeah. Ice drops from above. Ow. What does the temple look like it's made out of? Ice? Or is it
No,
actually
it's
built in
stone.
stone?
It's just a lot of it's covered in ice and snow. But Okay. As the shadows pass over you, Caesora's mind is infected with darkness, and you find yourself reaching to Vaha's sword for comfort, grabbing hold of the silvery handle and fiddling with it. You have become obsessively compulsed to tinker with and only use Vaha's sword until next session. So you may use no other weapons. And you must constantly fiddle with it.
Well, the sword of the Vada currently got out, yeah?
Yeah, the one you took from the tomb.
Oh, right. Well, that was a put away because I was using my sword of the book. So I have to now use that sword rather than any other weapon.
Yeah, until next session. Right.
I'm just looking at my skills. It says here, water trance, 1 hour meditation, scope thoughts, unreadable by mind powers.
Yeah. Okay. A moment after the hawks pass over and this wave of madness passes through you, only affecting one of you, a premature twilight settles over the area, turning the whole area dark as if night has started to come on. In the sky above you, you can see the northern lights dancing in the sky. Green and blue and purple and unsettling to those of you who've never spent much time in the far north. But you have reached the tiered steps up to the temple. So before you is the square body of the temple. It's about... maybe 120 meters across, with a good dozen pillars. Between the two central pillars and the wall of the main building, there is just an opening, no doors, just an opening to the interior of the temple.
I will follow Sir Elaine's lead as he, I imagine, is in the vanguard of the party.
Yeah.
Yes. I will just walk forwards and study this door.
Okay. You step closer through the darkness. Everything's got this weird, unearthly, greenish, bluish light to it now from the lights above. But as you get closer, the insides of the pillars and the wall where it's protected more from the winds have got this strange, not entirely natural looking mauve ivy growing over it.
Does it appear to have any Venus flytrap-like characteristics that could indicate it's some kind of monstrous carnivorous plant, or has buds or anything like that that could chomp?
It just looks like ivy, though the leaves are of an odd shape, and it's moving, but it's not moving the way you'd expect from the wind that there is. A lot of this ivy is grown over the entrance between these two pillars, but a lot of it is also crushed, like someone or something has passed through here regularly, recently.
Would I, without spending a full magic point, be able to create just a little bit of heat from my hand? Is that a minor effect that could be possible? The reason I'd like to try that is to see if it reacts and maybe grows towards a slight heat source. I don't want my body heat. I don't want to get so close that it's my body heat alone that it might react to.
You can spend a magic point and use a low-key version of Dragon Breath to just breathe warmth forward.
Okay, I'll do that, sure.
Yeah.
See how it reacts.
Okay.
First, let's say, folks. Sir Elaine, Becca. I forget.
Caesora.
Caesora. Thank you. Let me note that down.
Oh, do you want to heal Caesora? He took 7 wounds, which a major healing would fix.
Yeah, that's 3 points, I believe.
Yeah.
So 1, 2, 3, 4, 7. That's already 10 gone. How much have I got? Oh heavens!
Don't forget you've got scrolls and things as well.
15. I've only got 15. Oh, geez. I will spend the one with the breath, and
Okay.
I'll say it every. I will have healed Cesora as well, so I've marked those points gone. Let me see if this reacts to heat.
Yeah, the ivy seems to sort of lean towards the warmth and the heat as you breathe out, but it doesn't seem to do anything dangerous, like sprout spikes or tendrils or try to grab anything. It just seems to like the heat.
I'll just look over at Sir Elaine and kind of, with my eyes and body, shrug a bit. It's all's in your court.
Proceed with caution. You have ways of setting things alight. Remember what happened last time we came across a ivy infested hallway.
I like fire.
Okay, so Elaine moves forward a little and sort of peeks inside. It's dark inside. You'll either need a light spell or some torches or lanterns. But in what little light does penetrate, you see a narrow corridor stretching east and west.
I'll light a lantern.
Okay, so you crouch down here out of the wind, strike your flint and tinder, get the lantern going.
Question about scroll use in this rule set. Do I need to have it? Is it like is a scroll based spell one that I can cast in an action, or do I have to do a couple of rounds of preparing?
You just grab the scroll and activate it, basically. So
okay.
It's an action to do that.
Okay. I'm going to just kind of rearrange a couple of my scrolls and have Shadow Bolt near at hand.
Can you cast your spells with one hand? Hold the lantern out to you.
Yes, you can. So
Perfect. I will be a lantern bearer. Do we have it on a pole or anything like that, or is it?
you could hang it off your staff along with the skull.
That might be a little disrespectful to the staff. It's. I'm not going to drape it with something mundane, a flammable, oil. And no.
Yeah.
No.
So you can sling your staff.
Yes. I'll sling that over my back and.
And hold the lantern up. Okay. So yeah, there's a growth of ivy just inside the door, and then it seems like the walls everywhere else are fairly blank and not overgrown at all. And this narrow path leads east and west.
And we approached from the
South.
East, west, left, right.
Left, isn't it?
Sorry, different way of meeting, right?
Left. Yeah.
Left is tradition. Yeah.
Left it is, and we can't break tradition.
So it's wide enough for one person to walk, but not quite wide enough for you to move side by side. So what's your party order going to be?
Walking from.
Okay, so
Elaine, with your shield ready, yes?
Yeah, and then Becca at the back.
Yeah, that's normally the plan, isn't it?
Yeah. Then probably Keradon after Elaine because she's got the torch. Make
sense with the light, yeah.
And then Cesora back a bit. Okay.
I'll
right.
roll up the banner, Grim. I'll roll up the banner.
Yep. It's still a bit unwieldy in this corridor, but you can just drop it for the duration of fights. Okay, so you turn to the left and follow the path along to the west. Once you're past the ivy, it seems to be in relatively good condition here. Though there is dust, it looks like footsteps have passed fairly recently and quite a lot through the dust here. The walls, floor and ceiling are all made of black stone, and other than the occasional glimmer of rock crystal in that black rock, it's depressingly dark and seems to swallow up the light from the lantern quite a lot. Your footsteps also echo quite a long way, which is disconcerting, and bounce back in weird ways and from weird angles. Eventually, you arrive at a corner So you can go back the way you came, or turn right and head north.
Let's just keep going.
Okay. The pathway does a dog leg and then continues north. And then you arrive at a side tunnel. So you can continue on north or take the side tunnel to the west.
Always left, right?
That is true. To the side tunnel.
Okay. You step out into the side tunnel and move forward. Can Sir Elaine make a perception check at -6, please? Or is it stealth versus perception? I never remember. Is your stealth score higher or is your perception score higher?
My stealth is higher.
Okay, so it must be
By
perception
1.
versus stealth. Right.
How many hit points did I get?
My stealth is 9.
You got back 7 health points.
Yeah.
Okay. Right, so sorry. Again, what was your perception?
8.
8. So
Not very perceptive or stealth.
Not meant to be. You're a full-on knight.
Yeah.
You're a walking tank, essentially. Yes.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
okay, you step forward and you put your foot straight through an illusory floor tile. What's your evasion?
My evasion is 7.
Right. Yeah. Sorry, but you tumble forwards into this hole. Now, Caradon's right behind you, but probably doesn't have the strength to hold on to a man at arms in a full suit of plate mail.
That makes perfect sense. I was just going to be able to reach out, but of course, I have a lantern in one hand, and the other hand I've got a scroll
So then
ready.
juggle the lantern and try and reach for him, but yeah.
I don't think that would be possible.
What is your natural reaction though? You see me falling
natural
forwards.
Yeah.
Yeah. Be honest with yourself.
Okay. I'm trying to think about her in the background. I read about her and so on. You're a longtime companion. I wouldn't care the first whit about the lantern. I would try and reach out and grab his cloak.
Yeah. Okay. You
What's
do
going to be the result of that?
My instinct.
You do momentarily grab hold of him, but just the suddenness and the sheer weight sort of tears him free of your hands and down into the pit.
No!
Yeah. Now I'm trying to find the falling damage, which I can never find.
It's probably too much.
Falling, there we go. Right.
Wait. A little bit of humor. If the floor plan here follows the British style, he's already on the ground floor, right? The first, as opposed to North America.
Right. What is your armor rating? 6, wasn't it?
6.
Okay. By some absolute miracle, you land on your feet at the bottom, despite having dropped about 10 meters. And while it's bruising, you don't take any damage from the fall, and manage to sort of land with cat-like grace, albeit with a very, very loud clang.
I'm okay.
Yeah, peering down with the light of the lantern, he's about 10 meters down. So with him reaching upwards, that's only about 8 meters you've got to reach.
Meters?
Yeah.
He survived a 10-meter fall?
Yep.
How big's the hole, Grim?
The hole is about 1.5 meters across by 1.5 meters, so about 1.5 meters square.
Oh, okay.
I should be watching the back, Olaf.
Yeah.
I'm focused on being ambushed because this would be a good time.
It would. You don't hear anything approaching and can't see anything approaching, but then Keradan's got the lantern, so...
I assume I can't see anything down here.
No, it's pitch dark. And the walls absorb most of the light. And that illusory flagstone is sort of flickering in and out of life as people interfere with it.
Throw a rope down.
I'll point my sword at him. What happened?
What, when you touch the illusion?
Yeah.
It flickers away for a moment until you withdraw the sword.
Like a holodeck interaction.
Yeah, that's my thought exactly. Yeah.
So, I think Caesora's got the elf rope. If you want to throw that down.
Yep. Is there anything I can
What
tie
was
on?
We'll lay a rope.
Yeah, and then
You will hold it.
and between you can easily enough haul Elaine back up, miraculously unscathed apart from a couple of bruises and scrapes.
Yeah. Do that then.
You're unsure exactly how you survived, but your padded armor beneath your plate mail absorbed some of the impact, and you think because it's such a narrow pit, you probably scraped along the side a bit, which slowed your descent. But whatever the case, you seem to be okay. Which places you back on the main path, and presumably carrying on north. I should recreate this maze in Minecraft or something.
Why? Is it a very good maze?
It's interesting. I've built a few dungeons from games in Minecraft before just to see how they actually look and feel. It's quite interesting compared to just using a two-dimensional map. Highly recommended to any games masters out there.
No, I've got a dungeon keeper.
Okay. So you reach a right-angled corner, it turns sharply and heads presumably east if you're still keeping track of where you've been going. You can carry straight on. Seems to be basically a rectangular chamber ahead of you, divided by two pillars. Or you can turn again to the right and head south.
So... Wait, from the pit we went...
Okay, from the pit, you came back out onto the path that you were on. You carried on north, went around a dog leg. Then it turned 90 degrees to the right. And there's a rectangular chamber in front of you with two pillars in it. But it doesn't seem to lead anywhere. The only path off is to the south.
And
when you say dog leg, I'm a little unfamiliar with the term. Do you mean it goes in one direction and then circles back and then
like
like a drain?
A kink.
Yeah, a kink. So if a path was going north and went into a dog leg, it would go left, then turn back and carry on straight the way it was going before.
Let us investigate this rectangular chamber. Do you think, fellows?
Yeah, other than these two big black pillars with some ancient carvings on them, there doesn't seem to be anything in there, really.
Arizin, what do you think of this?
I'm not sure. I think we should maybe examine the area to see if there are, any fittings for tapestries, or if there are any markings on the floor, or perhaps like an undercellar, a flagstone that could be moved like an undercellar's opening or such like. Perhaps we should spend a few moments thoroughly searching the area for any clues as to what the chamber's purpose was.
Don't take too long.
That might...
Yeah, there's not a great deal here. There are the carvings are in an ancient version of the arcane language, so as a magic user you can decipher it. The scrivenings on the column are mostly sort of worship of Balor and the power of elemental shadow. Yeah. Which this temple seems to be dedicated to. But the only repeating pattern is an imprecation to touch the hand of darkness.
So these are the runes that I'm slowly deciphering and reading, and you're communicating to me. Okay. To touch the hand of darkness. The hand of darkness.
Does the hand look like Michael Jackson's?
Huh.
Oh, I had to
Not
squeeze that one
anymore.
out. Damn, we're no longer in Kansas.
Are we aware of Baylor much?
Probably.
I suppose not.
To an extent. At least anyone native to Albion probably is, but you hear different things.
Well, for example, if someone were to say, tell me what is the body of Christ, very clearly you say it's a sacramental wafer, right? Like that would be an association. So do we have any similar associations with the hand of darkness or anything like that might be?
It could be any number of things. It could be a hand of glory. It could refer to the sinister hand.
That makes sense. Perfect sense, right?
Yeah.
Left hand, sinister hand.
Yeah, there are various spells that empower your hands with various nasty effects.
I'll ask Owen if he knows anything about this from his culture.
Yeah, because he's still with you. I kept forgetting about him again.
I totally forgot about him. And he might know because it's Balor priests who are after him, no?
No, I've been here the whole time.
Sorry, I was drunk.
No good enough. No good enough.
I'm awake now. Balor, right? Well, he's this sea demon from the ancient past. Had an evil eye that could destroy everything in front of him. Legions of shadow and ice demons, and seems fitting.
What did he use his left hand for?
Wiping his ass, same as the rest of us, I reckon.
Oh, I knew you were going to say that.
No. I was going to say that. Stop it. You read my mind. Go away.
Really?
Not here.
I mean,
figured
according to legend, they still eat and drink, and there's nothing they like more than a lassie's tears, so the legend goes.
Ah. You better not cry here, Becca. Okay.
Perhaps this mystery will reveal itself to us in due time.
Due time. I like it.
Well, I think Scizor, the wee lassie ship sailed many moons ago.
Oh, right, okay.
So I'm quite safe.
Aye, she's a lassie, but she's no wee.
Aye, that's true, Don. That's true, mate. That's true.
I'm not on the scale of Becca, but I'm not wee either. So never mind.
When we fought Fenris the demon, the wolf demon, before that was a neutral force of nature, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Very angry Danny DeVito came to my mind.
But this is much more malign, isn't it?
Aye.
Oh God! No, what's the world coming to?
I mean,
even evil, perhaps.
Everything dies, but Balor, it ain't natural.
So what's Balor the actual god of then?
Tenacity of his mother-in-law.
He's like the god king of the Fomorians. Darkness and ice and all kinds of nasty shit.
Bit like you when you're teetotal then.
Aye, exactly.
I'll drink to that, dog. I'll drink to that.
The term Fomorians, does that mean giants or giant kind? Or
It's from
ants?
it's from Celtic mythology. There's no sort of singular form in mythology of Fomorians. They're all different. But Balor was supposedly the leader of these demonic beings and could strike things dead with his mere gaze.
He's all for seeing eye.
Yeah.
Oh. Oh, God.
Not sure what to suggest here. Perhaps, Sir Elaine, you think we should just press on?
Dude.
All right, lead the way.
Okay, so you have no choice from here, if you're not backtracking, than to go south, and then it turns at a right angle to the east, and then you can carry onward on the same tunnel or head south.
Okay, so going left, the closest way to be going left would be to go straight.
Indeed.
Yep. Okay, you pass on again. It turns north, then turns east, and forewarned this time. It's the darkness seems to get thicker ahead, so Elaine, remembering what happened last time when you sort of stepped forward into darkness, you sort of toe the floor ahead of you a bit, and there's another false flagstone, and then just a dead end.
I hold my sword.
There seems to be a running theme with this temple.
I hold my sword out to Grim. Is that an illusionary wall?
Yes. The wall isn't illusory, but the flagstone is.
All right. Is it the same size as the last one?
Yeah, exactly the same.
This guy likes his traps.
I have an idea. I think the dead end in front of us might not. Like, Balor is in charge of darkness and whatnot, right? What better way to have the most important parts of your temple and whatnot buried as low down as you can go? What if at the bottom of the pit there is a way to continue, perhaps a false wall or something like that? Right? Because you would be going down into darkness, and there was a damping effect of the light and all that. That's closer elementally. I perhaps that's just the insane ramblings of a very cold woman, but
No. You have a
Free
point.
to investigate if you wish.
You may have a point. Yeah.
Lower you down on the rope.
Yeah, why don't we first lower the lantern down? And once it's down there, I could pop down with the rest of you holding the rope. I'm probably the lightest here. I wonder if the light will come up that far. We'll see.
I think you still have a spare lantern somewhere anyway. So, okay, so you can lower the lantern down and then lower you down on the rope. So, yeah, it's just... the pit is about 10 meters deep. It's roughly the same size as the flagstones, so 1.5 meters by 1.5 meters.
Are there any remains of previous victims here by any? And I'm not like loot murder. Like I'm curious if someone has kind of been in this trap.
No, there don't appear to be any remains here.
Okay. Does there appear to be, for example, had remains been here and had been removed, would there be any scrapings or minute traces of evidence or anything like that I might spy?
Possibly. Roll d20 under your perception.
Okay. I rolled a 5, so it's almost certainly under. Perception here is 7, so yes.
Okay, there's a few tiny fragments of bone sort of stuck in some of the corners here where the flagstone joins the walls.
Okay.
So someone's fallen down here at some point.
I'm not the first one down here. I don't mean recently, by the way. I mean some poor souls probably gravely injured. Give me a moment to check for the walls.
Okay, they all seem solid.
Okay. Well, I guess that was a... You know what? I'm going to... I have an idea. I'm going to extinguish the lantern. I'm putting the lantern out.
Okay, it goes dark.
enveloped in darkness, I shall then close my eyes and call up to everyone and say, please be as quiet as you can be. And I'll just give myself a few moments just to kind of forget what light even looked like. And with my left hand, I will try kind of fumbling around at about the proper height for a door handle or something like that to be.
Okay, just a second. I need to read ahead slightly.
Sure. I don't know if that's a wild idea or not. It would be pretty cool if it was designed that way. Oh, it's out of charge.
Sorry.
No,
should have read ahead a bit further.
Maybe we should have a quick bathroom break or something like that.
Yeah, that would be helpful actually if people want to take like 5 minutes.
Yeah. I'm gonna go get a cup of coffee.
I can get some water.
And I need to get another drink anyway. Okay.
Pansy, you want to go outside? Yeah, come on, I'll let you out.
Okay, back in a sec.
And today's sponsor is Mountain Dew.
Okay. Is that me going Bing or is it someone else?
Must be something else.
Is that me going Bing or is it someone else?
Is this temple actually made out of onyx, judging by the black stone grim?
It's more like black granite.
Oh, right, okay.
Probably some basalt as well. I think
Some
basalt.
sulfur, you know.
Yeah. A mixture of black granite and basalt.
Got you. Yeah.
So, big radon risk, obviously.
Yeah, that's right.
liked about visiting Cornwall. There's a lot of granite there, and there's always veins of rock crystal in it. So if you're lucky, you can find big chunks of clear rock crystal.
Yeah.
And you also get pebbles of marble on the beaches, which is nice.
A lot of tin mines in Cornwall as well, isn't there?
Yeah. Which is a bit dangerous if you're out walking, unfortunately. Right.
Oh.
I think I understand how the rest of the dungeon works now. So.
Oh. I missed Dungeon Keeper. It was a good game. Did anyone else play Dungeon Keeper, or was it just me?
I played it as well.
Dungeon 1 now?
They recreated it, but for mobile, and that was rubbish, which was
Oh,
unfortunate.
Dungeon Keeper.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I used to play it all the time. So
Classic
good.
game.
Dungeon Keeper 2 is quite good as well.
There's a few.
Actually,
There's a few clone games of it that are all right. I can't remember a name of one offhand. It's been a while.
There's Dungeon. There's Lair. There was Dungeon Master on the ST and Amiga, but that was more or less like AD&D type Dungeon Bash. There was all sorts of rip-offs and zips of it.
Yeah.
And when I heard it was coming back on the PS4 and the Xbox One, it went to the Xbox One. It came out with the PS4. I was raging. I was a raging agent.
Did you ever play a game called Stronghold as well?
No, I haven't played that one.
Oh, it's so good. I'd like to play that again at some point.
Stronghold was fun. Yeah.
I thought it was really creepy how if you when you start the game, it asks for your name, and if you enter a name that happens to be as one of its like recognized name, it just constantly refers to you by that name. It's really creepy. So instead of saying like "Welcome, sire," it will go "Welcome, Jack."
It's like Fallout 4 was supposed to, with some people's names.
Was Fallout 4 supposed to do that?
Yeah.
Supposed to do a lot of things and then didn't. I'm not
avoid Fallout 76 like the player gets napped.
Not a very big fan of Fallout 4, Fallout 76. I don't even like Skyrim, to be honest. I think it's overhyped.
Skyrim was pretty, Jack, but it just went on and on and on and on and on.
Yeah, it's a nice sandbox and very big open landscape, but like it's just the same thing. It's just even the combat isn't very great. You just spam attack and things die.
I think I actually preferred Oblivion.
Oh yeah, I loved Oblivion. I have like multiple hours of that game.
I'm really miffed because there's someone going around who's got a modded version of Oblivion, and it looks like a PC game. It just looks a dream.
Oh yeah,
I'm just like, where'd you get that from?
Yeah. I modded Oblivion as well, and one thing you can do is you can get basically the meshes and textures from Skyrim. And put it into Oblivion. So it's pretty much it's Oblivion, but with semi Skyrim-ish graphics. So yeah. It's good enough that like it tricks you, and it looks pretty good. They're trying to like do a complete recreation of Oblivion with the Skyrim engine, which I would look forward to.
We're just waiting on Old School coming back now, aren't we?
Yeah.
Oh,
there he is.
The devil. Okay.
burning.
Right, I'm done being rubbish. So, right, Kerridan was at the bottom of the pit. No light, just sort of reaching out and trying to sense what was going on. Can Kerridan make another perception roll, please?
Shakes his head.
Was that a no?
18. I didn't know I was muted still. 18, sadly.
Okay. You can't really sense anything. You keep imagining things or hearing your own heartbeat or your own breath, but you're not really sensing anything else. And there doesn't seem to be any openings or doorways or catches or hidden switches or anything. It just seems to be a pit.
Okay. Haul me up, folks.
Okay. Pull the rope.
Yeah. And then you all fumble around in the dark and get the lantern lit again. Right. So the only way to go where you haven't been is to head back to the west, then back to the south, then back to the west, and then take the
south again.
Then take the southern passage. Okay, you follow it down to the south. It does another double dogleg, and then the southern passage must be roughly in line with where you were coming before the dogleg. So you carry on.
I got it. I got the shape you meant.
Okay, yep. So you carry on down to the south, and the corridor goes on directly south, but out to your right is a small square chamber with another graven pillar of a similar type to the others.
And a quick investigation.
And from that, there seems to be another passage to the south. So you've got two paths in parallel going south. One, which would be the one you're carrying on with, and one from the corner of this square room.
Let's have a look at the square room.
That's against going to the left, however, right? The square room is to our right.
It's to your right,
so.
Yeah.
You're forbidden.
I mean, I don't know if you want to hold to that tradition. Absolutely. I mean, we could look in the room before taking its corridor, perhaps. But
yeah, let's have a look at this. Have a look at the.
I'm late to the party, so you guys decide.
The left thing was a running joke thing. It's not hard several. It was just like an idea that like if you always turn left in a maze, you'll never get lost.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Which is true for certain kinds of maze. I find it especially funny because my normal gaming group, the face-to-face gaming group, has a rule of always going left as well. So.
Right. Do we ever feel like we're ever going down, Grim, or we're
no,
all
it's
on one level?
So far it's all level apart from when Jack fell into a pit. And
very
climbed into a pit.
Yeah.
Very good question.
Got you.
Okay, so this square room just has this pillar, which ostensibly seems the same as all the other pillars, and this other parallel path that goes south.
Is the pillar inscribed with glyphs or writing of any sort that are sensible to me?
Yes. Most of it is the same sort of writings you saw before about the sinister hand. And most of the rest of the pillar seems to be some sort of long-form Fomorian poem about how wonderful tears taste.
Okay, then.
For disaster.
He was... Well, no, I won't go into that. We're on public.
waxing rhapsodic about the taste of pain and misery.
I think I saw an item in your store that had something to do with tears instead of the white male tears, but there was something else.
Yes. I'm rather disappointed. Loads of people kept asking me to add that item because I've got one of my own, and no one's bought it.
Maybe next month or the month after, once I'm done with the dog's dental work, I'll maybe send away for one. I like that cup. I think it was a mug, right?
Yeah, it's a mug. Yeah,
it's quite cute.
And I've got an Ahagao mug as well, which says.
I saw that.
Yes.
I immediately thought of that streamer who sold her bathwater and
yes,
disappeared or whoever. Right?
And, yeah, and on the back of the mug it says "Fill me with your hot fluid, daddy" or something.
Oh, goodness gracious.
Anyway, So, do you want to take the southern passage from the square room, or do you want to continue on the southern passage that you were originally on?
We should continue. Sinister left. I don't know if it's Jim lending us hints here, right? The left hand, and he said sinister a few times, so maybe we should keep going left.
No, let's keep going the way.
Main corridor instead of the new one.
All right, so you carry on that way. It turns to the east, then turns to the north. Everything's nicely measured out in these sort of 1.5 meter slabs and all right angles, so it's all very regular but all very samey. So you pass up that corridor, then it turns to the right and ends in a T-junction at which you can go either north, which would be left, or south.
Which is going right.
As a break from tradition, I have a suspicion where that right passageway is going to lead us to. It might lead us back to the main entrance. In which case...
You think, given your and Becca's tracking ability, that you would at least be near to the main entrance if you took that path?
Do you want to try and make a loop so that we have a good sense of where we are?
Absolutely.
We'll see why not.
Yeah, it's a break from tradition, and let's go.
Okay, so you turn right and head down to the south. After making your way, quite some way, and from your reckoning, not that far from the main entrance, but it ends in a square room with 4 of the same black pillars dividing it up, but no exits other than the one you came in.
I'll check and see if there's any loot.
There's no loot, there's just these pillars with the carvings on
them. No illusions, no?
No, doesn't seem to be anything. You go around tapping the walls, all seems solid.
Or at least this makes this maze a little clearer.
Okay, tap it with my sword just to be on the safe side.
Tink, tink.
Okay.
Allow me a few moments to look over these glyphs and inscriptions.
The same repeated legend, and other than that, it mostly seems to be a glorification of battle and raids launched to the south in aeons past.
Does Baelor... Is it Baelor? Am I pronouncing it correctly?
Yeah,
Baelor?
I've heard it pronounced both ways. I say Balor, but most people say
Baelor. Does he have any lieutenants? For example, could each of these smaller rooms and areas be somewhat also involved in being dedicated to one of his chief henchmen or something like that? Or is he kind of like, a lone operator?
He's the boss. Let me see if there's any other famous ones I can rip the names off of.
Essentially saints or archangels or archdevils.
Do you think that these rooms could be some sort of like kitchen of Balor? Living room of Balor?
I hope we don't find the chamber pod room.
There's Sikol or Kikol or something similar to that, who's another famous Fomorian. Nemed.
Are they known for any kind of thematic connection to some of the inscriptions in these rooms? One is in charge of collecting the tears or making them flow. Another, the violence of the war in this room. I'm grasping at straws. I don't know.
Not really. They're all kind of raiders and war leaders and so on. And Balor is kind of like their arch king and god in the same way that various ancient gods, ancient kings were considered gods.
So he's a demonic godfather then.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah.
I have an idea for these pits, by the way. Carradine, if you use detect aura, you should be able to see the illusion, because it's magic.
That's true.
And also, if you did fall in, I would be able to catch you.
Yes. Okay. I'm really down on magic points, though. I only have 4, 8,
Well, why don't we tie the elven rope around her and get her to jump in?
Only got four left. My what would I call it? My inner strength is rather spent. I don't have much to spare.
I suppose then, if Caesora walks in front, tie a rope between him and I.
And you let go.
Just get ready. Just get ready.
I'll go certainly to the front, and perhaps a rope could be tied about the two of you. And I do have my staff. I could knock the floor somewhat, and
do these pits, Grim, look like fighting pits?
No, they're just straightforward pits.
Traps.
Just sudden sheer drops.
Yes, let's do that then. Tie a rope around Keratin.
So do you want to take
hold onto it?
Do you want to take the traditional left-hand path that you didn't take at the top?
Yes.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Okay, that leads to a smaller square room with a single pillar, with the same sorts of inscriptions.
Ah, these pillars are infuriating.
Now,
so
one room had 4 pillars in it. This room is just slightly smaller with but a single pillar in it.
Yeah.
Architecturally speaking, does that seem to make sense? Why would a room that is only just slightly smaller have but 1 pillar in it, for example?
You have no idea.
Check if there's any illusions going, Grim. I'll use the
Check.
sword to see if there's any illusions going.
There don't appear to be any illusions in here from tapping the walls and floor and ceiling.
There's 2 smaller rooms with 1 pillar in it, 1 large room with 2 pillars in it, and 1 medium-sized room with 4 pillars in it.
Yeah, there doesn't seem to be any rhyme or reason. It's a strange maze. I mean, the corridors are exactly the same width, exactly the same height. The walls seem to be exactly the same width as the corridors. So on the one hand, it's very regular, but on the other hand, it's very random. It seems specifically designed that way to be confusing.
I guess the only way to continue...
One at a time, please.
I guess the only way to continue is to go back to that room with 1 pillar.
And take that other southern path.
Take the southern path.
Yep.
Keratin, what did you... Yeah.
I was gonna say, is there any ceilings at all, Grim, or is it just pure blackness?
There's a ceiling, but it's black stone, the same material as the floor. Right. So you retrace your steps as best you can and head south. Right. Eventually, there's a right angle turn, and that heads east. By your reckoning, you're just passing next to that large square room with the 4 pillars, when this corridor seems to wrap around that room by going north, then west, then north again. Then it turns east, then north for a very short amount, then west, then north, and opens out into another small square room with a single pillar. There are 2 passageways to the east, parallel to each other, so one above the other, both heading east.
This is infuriating, isn't it?
It is quite irritating.
Imagine trying to assault this place with any number of men. I mean, you could defend this with 1 man, a dog, and a horse, couldn't you? This place.
Do you reckon this place was a fort or a temple?
Well, it's designed to impede progress, isn't it? So it's stopping people coming in.
I reckon it's a testing ground.
How would anyone find the latrine in here? Mystery.
Yes, a testing ground. Yes, it's because Baylor is the Lord of Darkness, isn't he? So
he's the god of darkness, and also at the same time he's the god of blah.
Tedium?
Mazes and spirals are also often figure in sort of northern ritual practices and runes and so on. So tracing the shape of a maze or a spiral can be an act of worship or an act of magical empowerment or even a gateway to the other world.
Yeah, right. Like the Stations of the Cross, the Stations of the Maze, and so on, right?
Yeah.
There you go.
Well, tradition dictates the left path, so...
Okay.
Correct. The upper corridor would be...
It's Kerridan in front now, tapping along with the staff.
Yes.
Ends in a dead end, and you find another illusory slab down to a pit.
Yeah, I doubt my idea from before is worth pursuing again. Perhaps we should turn about. This is, I guess, meant to be a dead end for initiates who have the terrible luck to fall into the pit.
Yes, initiates that suck. Okay, so you take the southernmost path this time. It goes on past, you reckon, where that previous dead end was, and opens up into a north-south rectangular room with 2 more pillars. There are 2 corridors to the east, one at the northern end of the room, one at the southern end of the room. Excuse me.
So this kind of mirrors the last room and corridors we came from, because that was a smaller room with 1 pillar in it, and a north corridor and a south corridor, like an electronics plug. The north corridor led to a pit. The south corridor led to this bigger room with 2 pillars in it, and again the same style of exits from the east walls.
Given Becca and Elaine's practice at tracking, keeping their bearings, you think you're close to the center now, but it's just whether there's an entrance anywhere nearby.
I guess we take the top corridor.
I could imagine you would have to memorize the route, wouldn't you? Because there's no markers, no signs, is there? There's no help.
I mean, you could make chalk markings on the walls, but they're such tough rock that scratching any kind of indicators into them would be a lot of work.
Could I put a pick into one of the picons into stone?
Sorry, what was that?
Could I use one of the pitons into stone?
You might be able to wedge one in the gaps between the stone. It would take a lot of strength to actually ram a piton into the stone here, though.
But Sir Elaine, you were saying something about
just press onwards. Take the top.
The top passage.
Okay. Want to go that way?
Right. The pathway turns north, then west, then north again, then east, spirals around itself a few times, and then turns south, then east, then south, and there's another small square room with a single pillar and a parallel passage to the one you just came down to the north.
I guess continue.
Yes.
Not a great deal of choice. Okay, it turns west, south, west again, then north, and then moves through a sort of double S. And if your eyes don't deceive you, you're seeing a greenish-bluish twilight from up ahead.
Maybe an exit we're coming to now. Oh my.
I guess weapons at the ready.
Yep. Is everyone readying their arms?
Alright.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. The corridor ends with more of that purplish, mauvish ivy and opens out into a square, which seems to be at least partially open to the twilight sky outside. There are 4 pillars across there, and enough pillars to form a sort of 4x4 square around the interior of this square. There's a gallery on the upper level, which is shrouded in unnatural shadow, and there are steps leading up to that gallery. Within the area of the pillars, there are 4 graven images. One depicts a sharp, angular-looking being with hair carved into the shape of flames and fierce red marks scored into its cheeks. It's glittering with rock crystals and seems to be some kind of red granite. The second image is a rough-hewn, men-like rock with 2 monstrous stone arms outstretched on either side of it. Another one is a crude stone representation of a bird in marble. And the last one is a large black monolith. It's just very exactly square and a very pleasing but unsettling shape to it.
That must be it.
Each of these images has a sort of shimmering translucence on the side of it that's facing towards the very center of this square. And in that very center is a pool of what was probably once water, but now is sort of foamy, foul-looking muck.
How tall's the monolith?
Sorry, what was that?
How tall's the monolith?
The monolith and the statues are all roughly the same size. So they're about 5 meters tall.
God, I bet it.
Thereabouts.
That's bloody huge.
That is a monolith. It's not humming though, by any chance, is it?
No, it's not. Well, they're all making a bit of noise, but it just combines into white noise. There's a crackling and a rumbling and the rushing of air. And yeah, a slight unsettling hum just at the very lower bounds of your hearing range.
And does the bird look like the creatures which we faced outside and also at the Capitol Road?
A bit, but it's white rather than black.
Interesting.
So,
So there's a pool of water in the center of this room and 4 statues.
Yep. And stairs leading up to a gallery above, which is shrouded in unnatural shadow.
Shadow. Let's leave the unnatural shadow for last, maybe. Should we muck about in the pool?
Do you have any
mud.
methods of clarifying this liquid?
It's mud, Jim. Not as we know it.
I wonder if I have anything that can do that. One moment. Let me have a peek.
Do we actually have that goblet which actually had holy water in it?
No, because Brother Abbas has that.
Yeah, who never seems to be around when we need him.
He's running a Shadowrun game tonight.
Ah, right, okay.
And Madrox's not getting his new tablet till Tuesday.
Ah, right, okay. How active does this mud look? Is it bubbling away or is it solid? Or?
I mean, it's a still pool of murky, mucky water. God knows what's been in it. But however long it's been here, it's turned its surface to this kind of yellowish, foamy scum that smells like bitumen.
Oh, God. Please. Oh God, that's bad.
Does bitumen have a sulfuric smell to it, like a rotten eggy undertone or anything?
It's more like tar or petroleum or diesel. Or...
Okay.
So a chemical smell that people in medieval times weren't particularly used to.
Probably leave it. There's no use.
I think that's the
Not
cesspit.
waiting about it.
Do all four of the graven images? Geez, I wonder. I mean, maybe there's something to do with reflections here. If we reconstitute the water of this area, maybe the reflection of the statues in the water, maybe bouncing off something on the ceiling. If there's any hidden patterns or something like that.
Well, there's these shimmering portals in the front of each of these images, and it does kind of look like liquid, you suppose.
Oh, there are shimmering portals in front of it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Actually, so on them, in them, like the surface isn't solid.
Well, I'm guessing the big plain black plinth would be the big one. Valor. No? Makes sense to everyone else?
It does, yeah.
If they correspond to the elements, it would seem so.
So this
we gotta go into that thing?
So this is the many forms of Balor then?
I guess, but it looks like there are doorways into maybe
Different
other
realms.
places. Each has each of the graven images has a portal in it, and a shimmering portal, roughly the size of a doorway.
Yeah, tall enough for a tall man to pass through.
That probably should have caught my attention more than the scummy pool.
Are they kind of like framed, or is it like?
No,
do they appear?
It's as if part of the front of each of the statues or the monolith is liquid but vertical, like a Stargate portal almost, but it's the same color and everything as the stone of the statue.
Okay, well then that very clearly is one of the maybe 4 places we're going to have to enter into, unfortunately.
Is there like pick up a rock on the ground or something?
Oh yeah, there's plenty of rocks, and where this ivy has grown over everything, there's a lot of dead growth as well. If you wanted some twigs or something,
pick up a rock and chuck it in the bottle, see what happens.
Which one?
The one on the top right.
So the bird one.
Apparently.
Okay.
The first one.
Yeah, you pick up a piece of rock and toss it in there. There's a tremendous rush of air and a loud howling sound from inside that thing, and eventually the rock comes hurtling out at unbelievable speed and shatters into pieces against the wall.
God, good Lord. I mean, the good of Lord. I'm going to have to praise for that. Blasphemy.
Dear God, terribly sorry, caught me by surprise. Love, Elaine.
I think they don't want to be disturbed in that one. Call it.
There's definitely something inside.
I'll chuck a stone in the blank one, just the blank monolith one.
Okay, you pick up a stone and toss it into the monolith. It just disappears with a ripple on the surface, and nothing else happens except that you hear a roar. Kill them! And from the shadowy gallery, 3 men in black breeches and black tunics and black hoods with crescent moon symbols on them leap off, throwing daggers as they come down towards the ground. The blackness around the gallery disappears, and you also see a taller, bald man in a black toga-like robe with a spear who seems to be in command. He points at the pool and shouts, "Rise."
Well, shit.
Oh dear.
Right. So, Sizora, you were the one that tossed the stone into the monolith. So, what's Sizora's defense? Well, it's ambush, but not a shock attack ambush. So, okay. All right, what's Sizora's defense?
Magic defense or just defense?
Defense.
10.
Because you're kind of flat-footed.
Ow.
Okay. Right. As they leap down, hurling these throwing blades, these crescent-shaped blades dig into you. What's your armor rating? 3?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, 2 of them just stick into your armor and don't pierce the flesh. One of them finds a gap. You take 3 health of damage. And what's your current health?
12.
Right, 1 second, please.
Why is it always happening to Cesaro? No one else.
Because you take so many more risks than everybody else.
No, I don't. Bloody Celine started.
Yeah,
so
I did.
Yeah, you didn't throw it into the shadow one though, did you? Right. Where the blade pierces your flesh, you feel a horrendous burning sensation, and black marks pass through your skin, following the lines of your veins. Take an additional 4 health points.
Ooh, this is going to fucking hurt.
Right.
Is it like a poison I've ever tasted or felt before?
Not one that you're familiar with. Okay, so that's their surprise turn. Right, the pool bubbles up, and what looks like a sort of carved stone head rears up out of it, shedding scum, and reaching out with tentacles and hauling itself to the edge of the pool.
Oh, that's my mother-in-law.
Right.
I have a question about one of the items Carradine has.
Mm-hmm.
What is the Hydon again?
It's
summons a water element.
Summons a water elemental. Yeah, you it's a vial of pure alchemical water. When you shatter it, it summons a water elemental and creates more bookkeeping for the GM, but that's fine.
It's of course a one-use item, obviously. Then so
yeah.
It says roll under my rank on a d12 to control it. So if I don't control it, would I know it? Would its default disposition towards its summoner, me in that case, be hostile?
It would just lash out pretty much randomly at anyone.
So risky.
Now, how like I have no context myself as a player how powerful a water elemental would be in this game. Do they have different ranks of power?
I think it's just the one type. Let me see if I can find it.
They're pretty buff, John. Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you fail to control it, it could possibly even kill us.
Yes, but what I'm thinking is, well, I don't want to metagame too much, so I mean, I'll hold that just for a moment.
Okay,
but yes, I'm aware it could really be bad. But
they're immune to non-magical weapons. They have an attack of 19, D10 to bypass armor, D12 damage, defense 14, magical defense 8,
Lord.
3d6 plus 10 damage, and they're the equivalent of a rank 8 hero.
That seems like the sort of thing you'd want to summon at a distance. Just let wreak havoc.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm wondering though, like, is there any way for me to buff my control roll by spending magic points, or
not with
is there...
not with a potion. With a summon elemental, you could, but
Okay.
right. However, meantime, that was
Yes.
surprise. That was surprise turns. So that's their action
Thank you.
turns. The cult leader coalesces shadow into a javelin and hurls it at Keridon.
Fuddle-duddle.
Right. What's
My armor factor is 2, defense...
well, what's your magical defense?
Magical defense is 10.
Okay, so that's pretty good.
Pretty good.
Right. Unbelievably, the shadow javelin misses you
Oh, thank goodness.
and smashes into the ground next to you and dissipates. I need another bookmark. What can I use? A Snickers wrapper. That'll do nicely. Right, so that was how many spell points? 5.
That bugger is in the balcony, correct?
Yep.
Aha.
You can return a favour, John. I think Shadow Bolt could be the good.
Right. The remaining cultists, the sort of moon ninjas, I guess we could call them, move to mob Caesura because he's the one closest to the darkness monolith. Right. Split your defense 3 ways. What's Caesura's defense split 3 ways?
3, 3, 4.
Okay. 3, 3, 4. Okay, only one of them lands a blow while the others distract you, but it is a critical hit.
Oh, no.
How are you doing for health?
Poorly.
You take only another 3 wounds.
I'm just standing no more.
Okay, so yeah, they'd sort of jump around you and fence with you with their short swords, and then he comes in behind you and manages to drive the blade up beneath your armoured shirt. Fortunately, that weapon doesn't seem to be poisoned. Right. And it's your go.
How far away is the portal from me?
It's past 2 ninjas.
Can I take a run, jump over them, and go through?
You can try, yep.
Okay, here goes nothing. I'm going to do that.
What's your evasion?
10.
Right, you shove past one, but the other manages to grab onto your arm and hold you, so the two of you sort of swing around together,
Okay.
and you didn't quite make it to the portal. Right, Elaine's go.
Ah. Someone help Caesura. I forgot your name again. Someone see to his wounds. And I'm going to sort of grasp like a ring on my finger and read like the inscription on it.
Mm-hmm.
And it is a ring of sentinels.
Mm-hmm. What does it do?
It summons a spirit knight.
Do you have the stats for it?
Attack 16, D10, D10, armor 4, defense 10.
Okay.
It's on the sheet. In the event, sorry.
Yeah, just have a look. Ring of the Sentinel. Okay.
I read the inscription. Lorem ipsum dolus et alat.
Okay, so that just...
I had it in my mind that like I was going to use it if we ever became outnumbered
Yeah.
in a fight.
I've got a bookkeep, and I've got to remember Doron's there as well. Bloody hell. You guys all right to... It's coming up on 10. Are you all right to keep playing?
Yeah.
Yeah, past this fight.
Yeah.
I'm okay too.
Just let me know when it gets too late. Okay. So yeah, so you twist the ring on your hand, read the inscription, and a shimmering knight appears alongside you, resembling some of the men you fought in the Crusades with, only with a bloodied tabard and a couple of arrows sticking out of his back. But he lifts his sword and moves to your defense.
Oh,
Right.
Help him.
Right, this spirit knight sort of rushes across the battlefield, almost like it's sort of flowing from one spot to another, and swings its blade at one of these, what we're derisively calling moon ninjas. So, his attack is 16. Their defense is 10. They're saving some against you guys, so... Right, the Spirit Knight's blade passes through one of these cultists without leaving any visible wounds, because it's some sort of ghost blade, but it's like it's ripped part of the life out of him.
Good.
Yeah, he shudders and stumbles under the blow. Becca's
That guy an asshole.
Okay. I should attack one of these occultists that's attacking Caesura.
Okay, so you charge in to join the fray alongside the Spirit Knight. Take 2 away from your attack and roll.
I'll aim for a fresh one.
Yep.
Five. That's a hit.
Okay, he's going to go straight through armor, so damage.
7.
7. Okay. You strike him a goodly blow, but beneath the tunic and the breeches there does appear to be armor of some description, so you don't cut as deep as perhaps you were expecting. But he staggers back and tries to recover his stance and ignore the flowing blood. Right. Doron gives a loud shout and charges into battle. And cuts down the first moon cultist with his blade, cleaving into the guy's shoulder and down most of the way into his chest cavity, shoving the body off the blade with his boot and turning on the next one. Right, what's Caridon's defense?
It is 6.
Right, the thing lunging out of the pool reaches for you with its tentacles and wraps them around you.
Oh, sugar.
The cup-like mouths that cover the tentacles bite into your flesh. What's your armor rating?
2.
2. Okay, fortunately it doesn't manage to tear through the armor, but it has a good solid hold on you.
Okay.
Some love. Some love.
Tentacle love does not end well for anybody.
Oh, tell me about it.
Urotsuki Toji, Legend of the Overfiend.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Now, it's Caridon's go. So you're cocooned in tentacles and being dragged back towards the pool, but it hasn't actually got that good a grip on you yet.
So, does that mean my arms are bound and I'm not able to use...
They're more around your waist and hips.
Okay. So, is that summoner up above, or is that caster up above controlling this monster, like with gesticulation? Is there any link between, like, him being in control of it, or is it just an
you
independent?
You think he just awoke it. You don't think he has any direct control over
it. And these are tentacles coming out of the pool, yes, or there's some monster.
So there's like a stone head with these tentacles coming off it.
Okay.
Looking like it's made of obsidian or something. It lunged out with its tentacles and pulled itself bodily to the edge, and then reached for you and grabbed you.
I will, if it's possible, I will use my scroll of Shadow Bolt to attack the creature with the tentacles.
Okay. Do you have the stats for the Shadow Bolt on your sheet?
Yeah. I have a spell Shadow Bolt, so it says 20 meter range, speed 14.
Mm-hmm.
The damage is 2d6 plus 10 HP minus armor.
Okay. Can you roll 2d6 and add 10 then, please?
Yeah. 3, 6, 9, 19.
Oof.
Yes.
Right. You sort of twist around in its grip with these suckers sort of sliding over your armor, failing to really catch. You raise up the scroll, and it burns away in your hand. And from its remnants, a sort of thunderbolt of darkness strikes this thing and blows it into chunks. You're showered with fragments of obsidian and burnt, rubbery fragments of tentacle.
Sushi, anyone?
Takoyaki.
Right, new turn. Sizora takes one more point of damage from the poison coursing through his system, and then it ceases to have any effect. Right. The chief cultist summons another bolt of shadow and hurls it down at Keradon. This time he hits.
Please tell me that was someone's stomach rumbling there.
Right. Your armor's 2, isn't it? For Keradon?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Okay. Gets through your armor and does 2 wounds of damage to you. And you are struck blind.
Okay.
So abruptly you cannot see.
You put the lights out.
Right, the remaining cultists, one faces off against Sizora, the one that's got hold of him, trying to stab him, and the other faces off against Becca, the poor, optimistic fool. Right. What's Sizora's defense? Sorry, 10 was that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You are struck. It goes clean through your armor. And you take 4 wounds of damage.
We're going to have words after this game. We're going to have words.
You still alive and upright?
Yeah, just.
Okay. So you sort of whirl around and around together, and then he sort of grabs hold of the front of your leathers and stabs down with his short sword several times, and one of the blows gets through. Right, what's Becca's defense?
Becca's defense is 15, I think. Let me just check. I just flipped off the page. 16.
Jeebus Cripes.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. He tries to get at you with this short sword, but you just use the sheer reach on your sword to keep him back from you. Okay. Sizora's go.
I will be avenged. I point my ring finger at the head priest.
Yeah.
Ring of agonizing doom. I'm going to zap one.
Okay. So,
aiming for his head.
What's the speed on that?
12.
Okay. The blast narrowly misses him as he ducks to one side, but shatters one of the roof panels in the gallery.
Oh, what a shame. So it doesn't land on his head. Oh, what a shame.
No. But it did worry him. So, you know, there's that. Let's find your character sheet. Got 1 charge left on that ring.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Elaine's turn.
Everyone seems to be dealing with the shadow ninjas quite efficiently now. So I'm going to charge up the stairs towards the man hurling shadow
Hurling
bolts
magic.
at us.
Yeah. Excuse me. Okay, let's not use that spell because it sucks. Or that one. That would be too complicated and annoying. Okay, well, never mind. Yeah, so you go hurtling up the stairs towards him, and you'll be able to reach him next turn. Right, the Spirit Knight wheels on one of the remaining cultists and isn't dispelled. It swings its spirit blade, but fails to connect as the cultist twists and rides and moves around where the blade goes. Becca's go.
Okay, so I'll try to kill this cultist who's squared off against me.
Okay, take 5 away from your attack and roll.
Because that was a singularly bad move.
Yes.
12 as a hit.
Okay, and roll your damage.
Oh, 5.
5.
Been rolling low damage all night.
Yeah. Well, you've got him at a distance, but that also means you can't get a really good solid blow with your sword in, but you do manage to carve across his shoulder and leave a wound there.
Yep. I reckon that as I cut away his tunic, it reveals some of the blue shit underneath.
Yeah.
Because these are all Rangers fans, aren't they? Probably.
Probably. Right.
Because they all zone in on the Celtic fan and beat the shit out of him.
Oh. Just you wait.
Right.
Just you wait.
Doron roars and cuts down the cultist that's still fighting Caesura. Cuts his arms off at the elbow and kicks him down to the ground. So there's just the one moon ninja left. Kerridan's go. You can't see anything.
Yes, I can't see anything, so I'm going to be no use throwing spells willy-nilly all about. As far as I know, there were either 1 or 2 cultists on the floor with us.
Yeah.
And a leader up above, yes?
Yep.
Okay. I will just try to regain my senses. That's probably the only thing I would be able to think of doing. I need my eyes to use my magic, so.
Yeah. I don't think you've got any spells that can heal that.
I don't think so either. I kind of had to look through here.
Yeah.
Why, I wish the party had fallen. I wish one of the party members had fallen.
Yeah.
You have a jar of hematite.
No, fallen. Just movie discipline. The third eye. Yeah.
Lesser healing can't do it. Greater healing can't do it.
While I'm trying to run through my mind, I guess thinking what I might be able to do, I'll call out, friends, I'm blinded. I'm out of the fight.
Mage down, medic!
You'd need cure disease, I think. That's the closest thing, and you don't get that to level 6, so yeah, you're kind of stuck till it wears off, really.
Okay.
So you call out to the others just to let them know that you can't fight. Right, new turn. Right. The head cultist wheels on Alain and hurls another bolt of shadow at him, because that's about his only useful spell in this situation, at least. What is Alain's magical defense?
Is 8.
8. Right, you are struck full force with the shadow bolt, but it does not penetrate your armor. It just dissipates over the plate mail, and he curses as you approach and lowers his spear. Right. The one remaining cultist moves in to try and get inside the swing of Becca's sword and tries to stab her with his short sword. Missing entirely. Yeah, you move the blade around and guard very low to the bottom. It says ching and chimes off. Caesura, you are currently unmolested.
I'm going to fucking frenzy. I'm going to attack this cult mother from behind with
Okay.
the last charge of my ring. Since his back's turned towards me, is his back turned towards me?
It is.
Zap him from behind, headshot.
Okay.
Here comes the pain.
So, right, the blast hits him full force. Roll 2d8 damage, please.
15.
Ooh.
Yeah, that'll do it. All right. So Becca, you're sort of facing off against this cult member. His sword straining down against your sword, and you're winning. But then there's a sudden blast of magic, and you're spat.
I was aiming at the priest. I was aiming at the
You said
priest,
cultist.
Yeah, the cult leader, the cult priest. That's not
Fine.
I
Okay.
think he said
Rewind.
I did-
I said the cult leader.
Okay.
Since the cult leader is going back turned towards me, and he's centered on a lane, I'm
Okay.
aiming for the cult leader, giving him a headache.
He would be
Right.
facing at you.
So you did 15 damage. So yeah,
Yes.
he's kind of side on to you, not but you still hit. Yeah, okay. The blast hits him and sears the side of his face. He recoils from the blast and sort of smacks off the far wall and stumbles back, barely alive, with his one good eye on Elaine and trying to hold on to his spear.
Thank you.
Jim, you realize you made a rewind noise there, and how that ties into the current winds blowing, right?
Yes.
I made a what? Rewind noise?
Elaine.
I'll explain it at a more opportune moment.
Elaine's go.
Now with him dazed, swing a sword full force onto his head.
Okay. Right, take 11 away from your attack and roll.
Very much a hit.
Okay, roll damage.
5.
Okay. Yeah, you move in rapidly and run him through with your sword. As you get close, you notice that he's actually somewhat translucent, and when you strike him with the blade, it's almost as if he isn't quite there, but the magic of the blade is enough to carry the day, and what's left of him dissolves into shadow.
Star Trek II Wrath of Khan, when the I forget the captain of the Reliant, when he turns the phaser on himself, right? Just
Yeah, gone. Only black. Right. The Spirit Knight wheels on the remaining cultist and cuts him down. So everything and everyone apart from you guys is dead. The Spirit Knight gradually fades away. Caesura collapses, making ow noises, and Keradan's sight slowly returns.
Okay, I believe I may have to heal our compatriot, unless we have.
We've got a healing potion. We've got healing scrolls. I've got an apple.
Yes, okay.
Have you got any healing potions left?
I think we've got one healing potion, but we've also got healing scrolls as well, Grim.
Yeah.
I have a peek here.
Healing
Why
scrolls.
use up the resource? I mean, do we think we've ended the major threat here, or I'll have to check out
There's
We're
whatever
doing the
lies through the portal.
right, okay. But I'm not sure if I heal our companion now, I won't have the strength to face what might be beyond. So I suspect
if you don't heal,
I would be less on that side than
how many spell points do you have left total?
I'm almost spent. I have less than a handful left.
Why do we camp here? Why do we camp here for the night? Someone take watch. I'll meditate.
I don't think it's safe to be in a temple of
Cesora,
darkness at night.
you know I respect you, right? But camping out in an evil temple dedicated to Balor strikes me as a fucking shit idea.
So maybe a shit idea, but I'm fucking on death's door here. If I meditate for at least a couple of hours, I'll be all right.
I think what I will do then is I will expend the little bit of energy I have left to heal Cesora, because I suspect Cesora will be more useful in any immediate conflicts, that much more effective than myself perhaps. So I will cast, if no one objects strenuously, what was it, major healing, I believe, greater healing for 3 points of magic, and then that heals 7 hit points of damage. And I have just a single spark left in me.
But you do have a shitload of scrolls.
Yes, I do have some scrolls.
That's true.
My Shadow Bolt is gone, so I've got Fossilized, Stasis. What is Occult Acuity?
It increases your effective psychic talent, so it's good for making your spells slightly more effective and for helping you resist magic, but not for restoring magic points.
Okay, what does a potion of strength do other than obviously increase your physical strength?
Like, is it boost your strength? You'll do slightly more damage, and your attack will go up slightly.
Can I give both of my potions of strength away to our fellows, maybe Sir Elaine and Becca?
Becca certainly would barely get any benefit out of it. So.
Oh, okay. How about Cesora and Elaine then?
Don't know if they've got any room for stuff. That's the trouble.
How long does it last? Perhaps we could just say they quaff them now as we press on through to the other side. No?
Yeah, they'd
Or
last.
do you want to wait?
You wouldn't want to drink it.
Don't last for a long now.
For no
They last
reason.
about 5 minutes on average.
Yeah.
Okay.
Becca's strength 15, so that would help. So that would tip her over there.
Yeah. So it's not a huge benefit, but it's something.
Yeah, +1 attack, +1 defense, +1 armor bypass, +1 damage.
You see, in a fight where we're already kind of down our energies and so on, that could make all the difference.
Is it? Yeah, it's about a 10% bonus roughly for me.
Yeah, as I said, my instinct is that that could make absolutely all the difference.
But they just don't last long enough for cautious exploration.
No,
Right.
With the buff
then-
already in place. So.
Maybe have it on hand rather than use it at some point in the next immediate conflict, so that you don't have to do.
Well, yeah, you've informed me, so rather than tinkering with the character sheets, I'll just assume that you've redistributed potions and things to make them a bit more handy.
Okay.
Okay. So now what then?
These daggers are used with poison. Do any of these goons have poison on them?
Yes, they each have a vial of poison.
Right.
Sorry.
Well,
How long do you
check.
think was left of this temple?
How long do I think is left?
You.
There's the final dungeon, but I couldn't tell you exactly how long is left. We could leave it till next time if you want to wrap
Might
up
be a
there.
Yeah.
Because it
If
is.
you think you can do it in the next 40 minutes or so.
I wouldn't like to because it's the climax.
Okay.
And then after that, you would be heading back down south to confront Kilndead in Glissom. So between that and the dungeon, I think we're probably best leaving that till next time.
It feels right to halt here then, definitely.
Yeah. Okay, I will tot up the loot and distribute the items and stuff and the experience points, and we'll see how we go. Cool. Thanks for playing, guys, and good to have.
Thank you for running.
Cheers.
Good to have a larger group. And yeah, so I'll see you Tuesday, same bat time and channel.
Yes.
Should note down on my sheet as well that I'm down to 14 health currently, because I might forget next session.